Welcome to the Arizona Department of Education's video on Sandra Day OConnor's Civics Celebration Day and Constitution Day. So let's begin. What exactly are these days and why are teachers required by law to devote time to them? Sandra Day OConnor's Civics Celebration Day officially became law in 2019. This day was set aside on September 25th, which is the day she was sworn in as the first female Supreme Court justice. In the legislation, it states that on the 25th of September, K-12 teachers will use the majority of the school day to devote to civics education. What does that mean? This broad description leaves quite a bit of flexibility for teachers and districts to determine what way to incorporate civics education that works best for your district, your school, your students, and you. You may use a multitude of resources, lessons, videos, and activities that focus on civics education. Any civics topic will work. The key is that you are devoting the day to this worthy cause. This is an important day to celebrate and observe as teachers because the primary job of our schools is to create an educated populace. In today's climate, it is more important than ever to teach students the importance of civics and civic participation. Every voice and every vote matters. In addition to Sandra Day OConnor's Civic Celebration Day, there is also Constitution Day on September 17th to commemorate the signing of the Constitution in 1787. This is a federal day that began in 1940 and became more formalized in 1952 and now also includes Citizenship Day. While this day has been around for quite a while, it is a good time to refocus attention on it. Constitution Day is a fantastic time to look at the Constitution, why that document, its ideals that influence so many others, is still relevant today, or to focus on citizenship and what America means to new citizens, contributions of immigrants to our society, or the process that people have to undergo to become new citizens. So who is Sandra Day OConnor? Let's look at the life of her and why we celebrate Civics Day in her name. After completing high school early at the age of 16 and graduating then from Stanford University, she started law school at Stanford in 1950. She had a hard time finding a job as a female attorney, but she and her husband, John OConnor, eventually then settled in Arizona, where she began to work as an assistant attorney general for the state of Arizona. She was appointed and then won a seat in the Arizona State Senate, and she then won election to Superior Court of Maricopa County and was then appointed to Arizona's Supreme Court of Appeals. In 1981, she was appointed by then President Ronald Reagan to fill a vacancy on the United States Supreme Court and was unanimously approved by the Senate. For over 2 decades as a Supreme Court justice, Justice OConnor became known as a firm but fair justice, sometimes swinging the majority opinion one way or another in divisive cases. In some of her pivotal cases, she voted with the majority. Here are a few. Mississippi University for Women et al. Versus Hogan. Men can be admitted to nursing school. Shaw versus Reno had restricted affirmative action policies and voting districts that are created to boost the political power of minorities. Aurelia Davis versus Monroe County of Education had public school districts receiving federal funds that are liable when deliberately indifferent to the harassment of one student to another. And then Steinberg versus Carhart struck down laws that banned partial birth abortions. Bush v. Gore ended the recount of Florida and thus making President George W. Bush president. After her retirement in 2006, she devoted her time to advocate to civics education in a K-12 setting, founding the iCivics organization that provided effective and does provide effective and creative tools for teachers to teach civics. So what is expected of teachers on this day? It is expected that as teachers on September 25th and on September 17th, you will devote the majority of the day to teaching civics and teaching about the Constitution. While these days are close and only a week apart, it is important to fulfill the law and remember the spirit in which it was written. These days are meant to be a celebration and fun days of learning for both you, your students, and even your community. Each of these days are meant to have the majority of the day devoted to teaching civics. This is where your whole school and community can get involved and make celebrations, skits, songs, marches that celebrate what civics is all about. Form a committee, work in your PLCs and grade level groups to create fun and innovative ways to do this. The flexibility of the law is such that you can choose to do what works best for you. Think along the lines of like what Red Ribbon Week is. As you work and plan your days, be sure to include primary and secondary sources. These are part of the Arizona History and Social Science standards and are a great way to use those standards in your day. There are many resources out there for you to use and to adapt to your needs, so you aren't reinventing the wheel. Lastly, make sure that these days are engaging and fun. It is not meant to be drudgery or just another thing that you are required to do. Think of this as a special opportunity to turn September, which normally does not have a holiday celebrated in classrooms, into a month where you can celebrate. For older students, it is a great way to take class periods, create an assembly, or cross-curricular lessons with teachers you normally wouldn't work with. For example, use the expertise of your Spanish teachers to see how our Constitution influenced the constitutions of Spanish-speaking nations in Latin America, or what type of art is created from the principles in the Constitution, or what literature from the Enlightenment do we see in the Constitution. Take the opportunity to plan the day to get all subjects involved, not just social studies teachers. This will be more meaningful for both you and your students. So what can you do to prepare yourself? There are plenty of places to look for ideas, lessons, and activities that you can use to engage your students. These are all free and open education resources that you can use, copy, mix and match as you see fit. All of these sites have quality resources to use for both Sandra Day OConnor Civics Celebration Day and Constitution Day. The key is to enjoy the day. So here are a list of resources to use for grades K through 2. Look at Kids Citizen first. These have great lessons that can be used online and are perfectly suited for primary grades. In addition to Kids Citizen, the C3 Teachers site has inquiries that work for the day, and the Center for Civic Education has got some fun lessons too. EconEdLink has a perfect lesson that also incorporates economics and civics together. And then lastly, the Constitutional Rights Foundation has Constitution Day resources to tap into and investigate. These sites are all easy to search online. You can just Google Kids Citizen, for example, but you can find links directly from our ADE webpage specifically for Sandra Day OConnor Civic Celebration and the Constitution Days. Additional resources for intermediate grades also use Kids Citizen for terrific lessons for both days. There are more places to look to supplement and add resources from Kids Citizen. Again, the C3 Teachers has some inquiries that match well with our standards, and also the Center for Civic Education has some good lessons for each grade level in this grade band. Another option, like the primary grades, is to use EconEdLink lesson and incorporate some economics and civics in the day. Then the Capitol Museum in downtown Phoenix has a virtual tour of the Capitol and some great resources relating to local Arizona civics. Lastly, We the Kids Civics has a site that has lessons and activities that are good for intermediate grade students. Again, you can find all these just by Googling the names, but also look to the ADE website for specific hyperlinks. For middle school grades, iCivics is where you want to start. Remember, this is the organization started by Sandra Day OConnor after she retired from the Supreme Court. They have many interactive lessons, games, resources, and guides that were perfect for today and online. Then to supplement and add more, look to the C3 Teachers for inquiries and look again also at the Civic Online Reasoning site. This is a newer site from the Stanford History Education Group that now has focused on civics and media literacy. Street Law has also created new case studies that are reworked with resources specifically for middle school students. Then look to the Center for Civic Education, the Bill of Rights Institute, and the Constitutional Rights Foundation for both civics and Constitution resources. Lastly, check out We the Civics Kids for lessons online and resources for middle school students. Again, hyperlinks to these sites are easy to search online, but you can just Google them or find them on our ADE website. Lastly, for high school resources, we've broken them down by course, beginning with world history. While this may seem like an unlikely combination, use the day to make comparisons of governments across the globe. Since new standards begin with the 15th century, you can always make relevant comparison to whatever or wherever you are studying to today, and the US. Another idea is to look at the civic principles and enlightened ideas that shaped our government and how they may be different from governments in the past. iCivics has some terrific lessons on the Enlightenment and enlightened thinkers. Just Google it. For US history, look to iCivics as well and find lessons that work for the time period you are studying in September. Look also at C3 Inquiries and the Stanford History Education Group, or SHEG, along with the new Civic Online Reasoning site. The Center for Civic Education has some interesting lessons that work also with US history. Then for a civics or government class, this is your bailiwick. There are all sorts of resources mentioned, but also look at the Bill of Rights Institute and the Constitutional Rights Foundation for more resources to try something new that will be engaging for your students online. In an economics class, look at the Econ Ed link. We are all familiar with their great lessons that are interactive and very user-friendly, but they also have quite a few lessons that tie economics and civics together into one. Also, the Council for Economic Education has a book you can purchase on Amazon, or some of the lessons you can find online is a printout, but they're still very, very valuable. Again, these lessons are highly useful. They can all be found easily online. The key to the day is to find resources that you can tie and create Civic Celebration Day for your entire school, not just for social studies teachers. Thank you again for watching our video on Sandra Day OConnor Civic Celebration Day. And remember to celebrate the day and look at civics and our Constitution and all that it has to offer. Thank you.